Hello all of you beautiful people, Jules here for WhatCulture.com, and on today's delicious lunch menu of ear grime, I'm going to be talking to you about trolls. No, not the ones that haunt bridges or Icelandic folklore, but a different type of rotten beast. You see, the online troll is a fascinating specimen, spending their time online breaking social bonds instead of making them. And while it would be easy for me to sit here and lampoon these oddities, I can't deny that I've been squeaky clean my whole life as well. In fact, there have been more than a fair few times where it's been much more fun to batter my teammates than actually complete a mission straight-laced, and on a previous list I covered games that allow you to not only destroy friendship groups, but do so in hilarious ways. And so I'm back to detail 10 more, so let's gather round, pop that whoopee cushion filled with deadly gas on top of that chair with the fake leg and the nail in the seat, and invite your nan over for tea, as it's time to troll. I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 more video games that let you hilariously troll other players. Number 10, Vermintide 2's Twitch integration. I'm just going to state this clearly. Vermintide 2 may well be one of the finest team games I've played in a long time, and as a huge and devout Warhammer fanboy, this ticked all my boxes. Although next time, let's get some more love for Slaanesh, right? I mean, after all, it's kind of its gimmick. Anyway, if this means absolutely nothing to you, then just think of the game as Left 4 Dead with better melee combat against more rats than a ghost concert. Online with friends is pretty much the only way to play this title, but if you're planning on streaming Vermintide 2 on Twitch, you might find an even stiffer resistance. This is because your Twitch audience can vote to spawn in new enemies and hazards into the world, turning what is an already uphill slog into climbing Mount Fuji with your bloody teeth. On the other side of the screen, watching and listening to your friends struggle with rat ogres and gutter runners is a pure joy, and nothing will beat the feeling of taking them down within reach of the exit portal. You gotta love being a dirty little rat sometimes. Number 9, Apex Legends Portal trolling. One of the base legends in Respawn's smash hit shooter was basically tailor-made for trolls to take advantage of. Wraith has the Dimensional Rift ability, which allows the player to create a portal for themselves and other players to enter, teleporting them along a set path while both being invisible and invulnerable. So far, so good, right? Except players have taken to exploiting the portals to trick unsuspecting teammates, luring them into the portal with the promise of handy pickups, only for the other end of the portal to hurl them off an edge of a cliff and ensure their immediate demise. Of course, the trick works on enemies too, but isn't the trolling that much sweeter when it's your own team suffering? Number 8, Hitman 2's Ghost Mode. Hitman 2 introduced competitive multiplayer to the iconic stealth franchise for the first time with the 1v1 Ghost Mode, where players race against one another to carry out assassinations as fast as possible. The big twist, however, is that each player is playing in their own separate reality, and the only way to affect the other player's game is to use a ghost item. Throwing a ghost coin, for instance, will alert nearby NPCs in both realities, allowing players to effectively disrupt one another's assassination attempts by giving their actions unwanted attention. It's hilarious to undo a near-perfect run by plopping a bit of pocket shrapnel down, and even better when it results in every guard in the area honing in on their position. Hell, sometimes it's even worth doing when you know that you'll be killed as well, just so your mate doesn't get the assassination. Yeah, I am that friend. Number 7, Halo's Warthog Betrayal. Now here's the thing, Halo as a multiplayer experience is already a thing of pure brilliance, featuring a ton of customized rule sets, outstanding level designs, and nail-biting back and forth games. However, if this still isn't enough for you, then you could always squeeze a bit more fun out of the proceedings by enacting a good old bit of Warthog Betrayal. Hopping in the Warthog and driving a couple of teammates around the map as they mop up enemies is one thing, but if you're craving some cheekier thrills, you can always just, well, drive the Warthog off the cliff while saving your own skin by bailing out at the last moment. This is a surefire way to leave your teammates fuming, but thanks to Halo's terrific vehicular and ragdoll physics, the ensuing chaos is quite hilarious to observe. Just don't expect your teammates to take it lying down. Number 6, Ark Survival Evolved lets you troll the trolls. Dinosaur hunting game Ark Survival Evolved is one of the most troll-friendly multiplayer games on the market right now. If you're so inclined, you can sneak into massive encampments and dismantle it from the inside out, undoing sometimes what amounted to months of work. It makes tales of people dethroning server kings a relatively common sight, and it's utterly satisfying each and every time. However, that's not to say that the story ends here, for what happens when you troll the trolls? Well, as it turns out, you can imprison the little wretch who tried to steal your stuff and force them to make care packages for new players to apologise for griefing. This case in particular trod the line of dark humour and justice, because the group in question stated that if their captive, who had been held there for 10 hours trying to kill themselves, they would trank the prisoner and feed them blood to nurse their health back up. In reality, this would be like a war crime. In the game though, well, it's a hard lesson to know when to stop being a jerk. Number 5. Red Dead Online's HOG-TIE abuse. The simple rope, eh? What a joy! From being used to scale out of deadly pits in adventure games to being used as a lasso in the Red Dead games. It's been a trusted ally and also one that can be abused to grief other players. You see, guns aren't the only way to settle scores in the Wild West, and if you holster your iron and grab out that lasso, you can stalk down other players, hog-tie them, and then embrace the short window of opportunity afforded to you to, I don't know, let's just say, throw them off a cliff or into a lake, or in front of a train. Whatever you fancy. Now, while the quick-thinking player can actually escape the lasso immediately by drawing their knife, some people still don't know this trick, and that will be their undoing. Plus, I mean, how satisfying is it to end a player who's been causing you a headache by feeding them to an alligator? Number 4. Mario Kart's blue shell. I wonder if any other item in any game ever has received as much verbal abuse as the blue shell from Mario Kart. Every time a warning icon appears or the little winged terror floats above your head, it's like you're a villain saying one final expletive before a bomb goes off. If you're lucky, then this will only cost you 1 or 2 places, but in some cases this can send you right to the back of the line and cost you the entire race. It is much like your mum at a BDSM club when she wields that nipple taser, a hard and punishing mistress, but when you're the one slinging it, well, by God, it feels wonderful. Again, just like well, you catch the drift. Though many fans continue to express frustration at the blue shell as a game-breaking mechanic that limits Mario Kart's skill factor, it also feels like an unmistakably perfect metaphor for life. No matter how good you might be, you're never above being hit by a blue shell totally out of nowhere and having your bloody day ruined. Number 3. Rainbow Six Siege's reverse friendly fire. Friendly fire and team killing have been a major problem since Rainbow Six Siege launched in late 2015, and earlier this year Ubisoft finally introduced a robust system for, theoretically, weeding out malevolent players. Reverse friendly fire is exactly what it sounds like. Players who shoot a teammate or hostage will receive a warning message, with any further infractions inflicting the friendly fire back on the offending player themselves for the rest of the match, unless the attacked player agrees to forgive them. But the system is hardly perfect and ripe for exploitation, especially for trolls working in groups, who can deal damage to players between them to avoid harsher penalties. Plus, there's nothing stopping trolls putting themselves in harm's way, like running into teammates' gunfire or setting off their traps in order to get killed and inflict reverse-friendly fire on an innocent player. The fanbase have been begging Ubisoft to refine the game's friendly fire penalties over the last few months because at present smart trolls are still able to have their jollies largely free of punishment. Number 2. Rocket League's own goal trolls. Rocket League is one of the most popular and accessible multiplayer games of the last 5 years, but given that it's basically football with cars, the potential for trolls to hijack a match, well, it speaks for itself. There's nothing really stopping players working actively against their own team to score own goals and basically ensure as many balls end up in their own net as possible. It's unlikely the opposition will leave you free to do this, mind, but opportunistic griefers can nevertheless infuriate their own team by blocking on-target shots and constantly nudging the ball towards their own. Why you'd want to do this is anyone's guess, but as I've mentioned before, it's all down to the individual troll's desires and Machiavellian dreams. Or maybe it's just so they can constantly spam the "what a save" emote every time their team lets a goal in. Who knows? And number 1, Euro Truck Simulator 2's epic traffic jams. Believe it or not, Euro Truck Simulator 2 has sold a staggering 5 million units since its release in 2012, and though it might seem like an easy, relaxing time, the game's user-created multiplayer mod is anything but. As you can imagine, allowing trolls to wield gigantic trucks in a game which is meant to be about getting safely to and from a destination has terrible consequences and has led to something rather unique happening. Troll-made toll traffic. Yes, that's right. Gangs of trolls can work together to block entire motorways or even extorting other players as they ask for favors or even items from other games in order to gain passage. It's a bizarre and aggressive microeconomy, and on a conceptual level, it's utterly brilliant. This type of activity generally leads to a ton of horn honking, trucks trying to brute force their way through the blockade, and plenty of physics-defying hilarity. It's a mod that was meant to bring the world together, and yet it slowed everything to a crawl, and I bloody love it. And there we go, those were 10 more video games that let you hilariously troll other players. Let me know what you thought about it down in the comment section below. And if you want to talk about video games, wrestling, comics and film, and whatever else I get up to here over at WhatCulture, then you can do so at RetroJ with a 0. I hope you have a bloody good day, and remember, you are awesome. Never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye!